Hey, this is a review by Norm. So I've been looking over this is the Alaska School Board um, fiscal report, like whatever they're trying to get for funding back from 2019 to 2020. So it's not current, because it's not 12. So it's like, so 20, so 19 to 20, 2021, 2021 to 2022, 2 years behind. But it gives a very good representation of the hardships that school districts, the Anchorage school district specifically, is having, and as well as the problem with. Personally, I don't know if it is sheer just not understanding how to run it. One, but like on a business perspective, and you can be as mad as you want when I say that, but I look at like schools as a business, because if those kids aren't succeeding, then they're failing. And if they fail, it's going to impact me later when they can't perform. Training is the best thing you can do. And if you don't do it well, then don't do it. The school system has a system in place that it now takes more of my time to get stuff done, especially with my kids. I play with them when I can, but a lot of the time I am doing STEAM projects, making sure that their future is being built for them in a way that will provide them success, rather than disarray and despair, as I like to say. A lot of the stuff here is, if I'm doing the math right, there's parts in here where people say that they don't get enough funding, but like teachers aren't getting paid enough. So I did like just an average, like 60. This is 65,000 people with the budget back in 2020, and the budget was roughly about $579 million. The Anchorage budget, 87.5% is allocated specifically for paying salaries and benefits. Take it down, $506.6 million is what's being actually used to pay people. Divided by the roughly 6,500 workers in the Anchorage Bowl. As long as this is accurate, and as long as I've read it right. So that could also be a problem, is it's not just Anchorage, it could also include the Mat-Su Valley, stuff like that. But it goes right under $78,000 yearly salary if it's just across the board. Is it like that? No. Some people get paid more, people get paid less, or some people do get paid this. That being said, going through this, it has a lot of fluff and puff, as I like to call it, is when I have to read documents, P&L reporting, if I have to read, learning either business papers or even like learning about somebody else's business, help them with it. They put in a lot of hopes, dreams, that quite frankly don't seem obtainable when I'm looking at the numbers. Where there's large deficits I find large deficits when it's 3%, when it's 5%. Like those aren't huge numbers per se. Like as far as like if you're going to school and you got 5% of your homework wrong, so you get 95%. That's still an A. But in the field of business, when you lose 5%, something has to give or something has to go. And by what I mean by that is like something has to give, meaning you can't be as laid back as you were with yourself and your employees. You have to think of how to ramp that back up. How do you get back the loss? Or again, like I said, you either figure it out or you end up having to lose people, which the school district has been pink slipping people, getting fired. As I said, 87.5% of the budget goes to salaries and benefits. Nothing goes to supplies and equipment practically. Nothing goes, pretty much nothing else gets tended to. Now, 5% of the remaining millions, obviously, that is something to, talk and squawk about. But if IT takes over, it's out. If, you have to redo a building, all that's out. So this is kind of the stuff that they go into. The special needs department has been increasing steadily. They've been needing more funding. Our grants, local, state, federal grant awards, they've been decreasing. Obvious reasons. Our economy is not doing well. Oil and gas in Alaska has been not depleting, but it has been getting reined back, meaning can't really, we can't make money off of something that isn't valued by, the barrels don't cost as much. So we lose value as far as being able to tax them. So it's one thing you get 25% from $100. That's $25. Now that barrel goes down by half, you lose half of your money. Substantial. It's very substantial that a lot of people, I don't think, know. So if there's something you learn that's new, I'm glad, and just keep progressing. Always learn. That's pretty much how I live. They go into more interest earnings, grant fund contributions, refund bonds. So they do bonds, principal on bonds, interest on bonds. So in a way, they put out bills as far as like right now, the one bill that's been out and out, which is it's a $111 million bond that Alaskans have to say yay or nay to have the funding go to specifically improve schools. Again, I wouldn't be mad at it if the schools were just needing it, but they were progressing already with what they had, but they're not. Not saying it's the school's fault all the way. I'm not saying it's the teacher's fault. I'm not saying it's specifically anybody's fault. It's everybody. It's the parents, it's the school, it's the state, and it's our local assembly members and school board members. Like I'm not gonna sit here and just say nobody deserves to get a finger pointed at them. Even myself. First, I was like, "Oh, my kids are doing well in school." Blah blah blah. All of a sudden, it's like my kids are behind in math, literature, language arts. I purchase programs that I have at home to where I now have to take the accountability of saying I'm going to make sure my kid is successful by any means necessary, and I can't depend on others to have my kids successful, to be successful, and to be able to progress in society. That's something that was like a slap in the face just 4 years ago. So here we are today. Nutrition, meaning funding, having basically just food, just kids having food at school, this and that. Especially was it called Title I schools? Title I schools are giving free lunches for the students because more often than not, the kids didn't even the kids didn't get breakfast, or there's no way for them to get lunch because they might not have food when they get home. So that's been substantially raising. Not a good thing. I feel bad for the parents that can't provide food. That's not to say that there's kids that just don't wake up on time, or they just don't eat, and then they get super hungry when they finally smell food in the air, kind of thing. My kids do the same thing. They're not hungry till I cook food. It is what it is. This is how much they have to pay for the sales, lunch and breakfast. Lunch is $1.5 million to $2 million now. Lunch reimbursements. They took a dive, almost a $500,000 dive for lunch, $100,000 for breakfast. After school programs took a dive at $150,000. Summer programs actually increased by just $2,000. Nothing crazy. Fruit and vegetable grants, that's increased by $200,000. and USDA commodities. I love how they say that. I don't know if that just means meat. That increased by two folds. You know what? I'm gonna annotate that because I want to know what that is. Because that right there is some special sauce. Because that makes no sense to me, especially with something that has literally went times two. So there's that. Annotation done. Student activities actually took a plummet. Obvious reasons. COVID. They kept adopting the budget, just pushing it forward at 7.9. Keep it high, keep it safe, I guess. This right here is a general fund as far as what they actually paid out to the schools, and then or like systems in place like payroll, human resources, stuff like that. And then their budget that they're thinking is going to be a need, and that's for Willowcrest, Eagle Academy, Aquarian. Yeah, this looks like it is strictly for Anchorage. Yeah, these are all Anchorage schools. So just each of these schools totaling what they did back in 2018 was 41 million. They adopted a budget for 46 million in 2019, and then 2020 they had another 46 million. The part that baffles me about this paperwork is they don't have numbers for something that they should have numbers. Like, I understand not having 2020 budget in place, but they don't even have like an actual 2019 budget. So I get a lot of Spider-Man tinglies going on when I have to read stuff like this, especially at work, and especially if I'm giving business papers, because I like looking over business analysis, because I love learning numbers. I love what makes people tick, and as well as the business. So I like actually been sitting down reading a lot. So I'm gonna move around a little bit. So with that being said, when I'm just giving flat numbers, I get apprehensive. I get that scratch neck, which I do. I literally do this if I look at paperwork or if I'm sitting down with somebody, and I get some weird feelings like it's not good. More of the grant funding talking about certifications, clerical principals, sick leave banks, stuff like that, recruitment incentives, pretty much everything to kind of keep the school either going or improving. Rental land and equipment, again, meal and food, stuff like that, textbooks. This is where organization total expenditures have significantly increased. So we're talking, got light out of my eyes. We're talking a $20 million increase projected. I'll say that. We're talking in 4 years, it's a projected almost $20 million, $18 million increase. That's not little. The other part I don't like is the staff travel. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's like, I have friends and family in different states that have to travel from school to school, so they get paid for gas mileage. If that's the case, hat off to, you got to do what you got to do as a school system and make sure these kids are taken care of to the best of your abilities. For 5 more minutes. So yeah, I can get to I read about 110 pages. I'm at 109. Full-time employees, certified salaries, and then non-certified salaries. Again, it's really weird when I look at these budgets because the employee benefits are just astronomical. Because the employee benefits to the certified salaries up here on 100 for the instruction. So 161, we'll go with the actual real numbers. 160, so we'll say 162. This is 76. That's literally almost 50% of the benefits compared to the certified. And again, we look at special needs. It's pretty much almost, it's like right on par with being 100%. And it's increased. Again, employee benefits, stuff like that. State function objective. Let's see here. Interesting. So 100 for instruction, special support services, support services, school administration. Interesting. School administration, support services, district admission. And organization total, the cost has went up exponentially. I won't say that. It just went up by 80,000. Not a lot, but also it's not little. You know, that's somebody's salary right there. It doesn't have a certified director, principal. Interesting. I don't get that. And that's the Anchorage School Board. I don't know why they don't have to put some. Don't they get paid? Like that's one of my real questions right here. What is this? Organization total say pretty average. Fluctuated between $500,000. Chief financial officer responsible, blah blah. I don't know if they do this for free or not. That's just really weird. I don't know why you're a CFO of a school district and they're not showing how much they make. That's something I guess I'm gonna dig into because that's substantial, is to know what's being used. I don't know why. Staffing went up and went back down. Had 3 people, back down to 1. Perhaps technical, clerical, Office of Management and Budget has increased, so they had to have increased employees. No, they've stayed the same, but they went up by 60,000. What? They went up by about 250,000, and they stayed the same. That's. Oh, are they doing like that? Yeah, they're trying to up it so they can increase staffing. Like right here. Okay, so I was wrong on that one. This stayed. And so I guess now it's finally technical because this is the stuff that. Yeah. So these are like good numbers. So it talks more about how many staffs they have through. I want to say it's been about 30 slides. I won't go over it. It's been about 30 slides. 91. Instructional support. Average instructional support. High school. Administration. Elementary education. Middle school education. Student activities in high school. They're hoping to ramp that back up. Student activities, high school, student activities, middle school. Interesting. 105. Coming up on what I'm at. And I'd say like this right here. The problems with these and the way that this is set up is if I didn't know spreadsheets or P&L, this means nothing to me. And that is the problem I have with a lot of this is when a regular person can download this information and then look at it and then not know what the hell they're looking at. That is a failure, not just on the parent side, but that's a failure on what are you distributing that people don't know. Like that's crucial, because if a regular person doesn't know what you're either doing correct or doing that or not, you failed. So I got to this point. Let me see how many more. Technology, fine arts. Yeah. Fine arts, staffing increased, organization total, daily membership, development grants, publication services, communication, library, custodial, cleaning, security, preparedness, emergency, maintenance, warehouse, rentals, community resources, vehicle maintenance, association benefits. And I mean, a lot of this just fluff and puff, man. Just super trash. Next about 2 days, I'm gonna get through the other 100, or if not, I'll have less. I mean, look, I'm at 154, so I made it about a third. I'm a third down. This is just bonkers. You guys have a good night. If you've been able to actually follow all the way through this, look at the BS that I'm staring at. Well, I'm not saying it's like BS isn't BS, but they don't make this to where I would personally believe a regular American is going to understand. There's not a lot of people that look at P&L reports and say, "Oh, goody, I can't wait to read," on that kind of level, and then, or they're just not going to know what the heck they're looking at. I feel it's a very big disservice to the public. So, take care. Have a good night. Like and follow. And if you got words to say, hit me with those words. Peace.